What is going on? You are listening to the Best of the Rest podcast. I'm Sticks, and over here is...
Freezer.
Yeah, Freezer. Woo!
That's my name.
That's the worst fucking clap of all time.
What was that?
Right. We're back again for another one.
Yep, we're a bit late.
Very late.
We both had some Easter holidays.
Things on.
Yep.
We decided to put the pot on the back burner for a little bit.
Yeah.
We thought we could afford to stop the checks rolling in for a week or two.
Yeah.
A bit of a break.
Yep. Spend all the money we're earning off it.
On a holiday. Nice. Well, we're just going to run through Bahrain real quick for the sake of it. Just a quick run through of the weekend, what went down, whether we scored any points in our little ongoing tally for the year, and carry on from there.
Carry on, we will. You
Very
do some carry on, don't you?
Very insightful stuff from you there, mate.
Always fucking carrying on.
It's almost like you're heavily distracted by that screen in front of your face.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Can't multitask.
No, not at all.
Right. Well,
Can't even singular task.
honestly, I've got no idea what happened in practice. It was that long ago that...
I can't remember anything from practice. I can't ever remember too much from quali, although I know that Verstappen and Norris were shit.
Piastri was the GOAT.
Piastri is the GOAT. Antonelli put in a bloody good performance in 4th. Gasly in 5th. Unreal. Great to see those young fellas. Not the Gaslys that young, but...
Antonelli he's building a nice patch of form.
Yeah, no, he's doing very well, settling into the Mercedes. I don't think it'll be long and he'll be starting to push Russell.
It's very exciting to see.
And yeah, always great to see Gasly up there mixing it with the big boys.
Which has been another one that sort of come out of nowhere. They were shit for the first few races, and then Gasly sort of pulled a few decent performances.
Yeah, actually, I think Bahrain was where Doohan was almost ahead of Gasly, almost the entire sessions, practices and quali, and then didn't quite get it through to Q3. Ended up 11th.
He had a little issue of sorts, didn't he? From memory, something whether he got a blocking or they didn't get the
I think so actually
the run right in that Q2.
Yeah,
he just missed out.
I think he might have got slightly impeded or something. Something didn't go properly.
This is great podcasting for us. Oh yeah, I think something happened.
Oh, it was like a bit 2 weeks ago, mate.
We got no clue what we're talking about.
Can't even remember what I did at work today.
Yeah, fair. It's very relatable. Right, so the highlights from quali, essentially Norris and Verstappen sort of somewhat bottled it.
Yeah,
and you had Piastri on pole, Russell, ever consistent 2025 season.
Yeah,
second.
He's doing well, especially in qualies, just to keep mixing it there, putting his car in the right spot. So I don't think it'll be too long and we might see Russell snag a win too.
He's sort of hanging around in that Drivers' Championship discussion. He's not sort of doing himself a disservice. He keeps his consistency up. He may be thereabouts.
Yeah, well, that's all he's got to kind of do. Let everyone else kind of battle it out and take points off each other, and he might be there to pick up the scraps and get some nice points.
You never know. Right, so we'll move on to the race results then.
Let's do it.
So, fire away, mate. Who got the win in Bahrain 2025?
Our man, Oscar Piastri.
Yes. You love to see it.
What a bloody result. Great drive from the young fella. Wasn't at all fazed by anything else happening in the race, just led it essentially from start to finish.
He doesn't appear to let pressure get to him. He
very calm head on those shoulders.
He doesn't seem to get rattled. You never hear on the radio, I don't know, stressed about tyres or this going on, that going on, what are we doing, change strat. It's just, I'm out here doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm getting the most out of the car. It's almost like, to a certain degree, it's almost like I'm getting the most out of the car. If you give me a good enough car, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
It's not like what's everyone else doing. It's like he knows he's going to get the most out of the car. And if that's enough to win, then sweet. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lando did great to get back on the podium, snag himself a third. He did have another penalty there. Did he have a penalty? Am I making shit up again? Didn't he have a penalty for his start? He had like a jump start, or he's outside the grid box or something.
Yeah,
Because Verstappen was pointed out. He got penalised for that, didn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, so he's done well there to start in 6th. He jumped like 3 positions straight off the start. Probably helps when you start 5 metres out of your fucking grid box, but
give yourself a little leg up from the get-go. But yeah, definitely had a baller start and put himself up in that. It might have been 3rd or something after the first few corners.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think he pretty well got straight into 3rd and then dropped back a bit with his penalty and then worked through.
Which that helps you a lot when you get that nice clean air to start off with. You're not sort of battling those first half a dozen laps getting through people to sort of get in that top 3 position.
Yeah.
So he did a good job there.
Russell held on for essentially the entire race, but then had some gearbox issues towards the end, so it shows that he finished 15.5 seconds behind Piastri, but that probably wasn't really the case for what panned out. I think, yeah, he only kind of ended less than a second. Norris was only less than a second away, but realistically, yeah, Russell had kind of ran away with it, but could just hold her off for that little bit longer with the gearbox issues. Another lap and he would have been toast. But
well, that Merc, I think, was more or less falling apart by the end of the race because he had gearbox issues going on, DRS fault, so DRS wasn't working. His lap timer or whatever was broken, so he couldn't actually, no one could pick up where exactly he was. Then DRS wasn't working because other cars couldn't pick up where he was in relation. And then he was saying something about his brakes going long as well, wasn't he? Something about that was going, it was long and then it was short, meaning as he pushed his foot on the brake, he had more travel on the pedal than he's expecting, and then he'd be at the next braking zone and then he'd have less than what he had before. So it's, ridiculously hard to sort of get a proper bite on the brakes if you're not knowing what to expect as you put your foot on the brake.
Yeah, how hard are you pushing your foot down? Or at what point is it starting to engage? And yeah, definitely makes it tricky.
Which, when you think to try and drive around that and stay quick, that's insane. Because if you're coming to a braking zone, you don't have time to sort of modulate, oh shit, on, off. Like if you're expecting, oh, my brake pedal's going long, so I've really got to get into this to make sure I'm getting the brakes to bite when I want it to, and then it bites early and you could be locking up quite easily.
Definitely. And he was having all those issues like you were saying with his transponder and not picking up where he was. His name was jumping up and down the timing tower and he never moved from second. And he had, so he said that he pressed his radio button and his DRS flap came open. But as soon as he realised, like in say a second or two, he shut it again. So there's always this debate about that his DRS had come open, but he said that he took his foot off the foot off the gas, and he actually ended up losing more time than what he could have possibly gained to make sure that he wasn't breaching any rules. Which
good to see.
Yeah, like I agree with and agree that they've come to the right decision in not giving him a penalty. The only thing that I kind of cast my mind back to is what about Sainz when he hit the drain cover in Vegas and fucked his gearbox, and they gave him a 10 or whatever place grid penalty because he had to replace his gearbox and he didn't have another one in their allocated amount.
Yeah, that's wrong.
So he gets stitched up because of a
environmental factor.
Yeah, force majeure, a track problem that's beyond their control. And he gets penalised, but Russell doesn't get penalised for their car playing up, where it's like
it's more in their ball court, isn't it?
Isn't that almost part of racing?
Yeah,
like
that's
if it was something that fell off the car, then their car would have been in an unsafe condition. So I don't know. Like I agree that it was the right decision, but then going back to past decisions they've made, it's like yeah, you got to be consistent too.
Yeah, you do make a good point there. I think Ferrari definitely got screwed over. If it wasn't for... Well, wasn't it all but one team voted for Ferrari to be able to use extra components? I think it was Mercedes that turned around and said, because they're fighting in the constructors.
Something like that, yeah, they put it to a vote and 9 out of the 10 teams or principals or whatever agreed, and there was one that didn't. I think it was pretty obvious who didn't.
I mean, that's just, that's a whole thing in itself. But that is wrong because, I mean, that's nothing to do with the team itself. Very unlucky. Writes the car off and then they get penalised for that. Not great. But, yeah, that Bahrain race was overall a bit of a snooze fest. Not a whole lot going on. Not even a massive amount of overtakes or anything. Nothing overly exciting. But it just seems to be, I guess we're at the end of these regs and the dirty air just causes havoc. Cars can't follow without overheating their tyres, so drivers are trying to keep enough distance to where looking after their tyres, sort of staying in DRS but not wanting to get too close unless they can actually perform an overtake, which just doesn't seem to really happen.
The only thing that I like with Bahrain, which I hope to see more of, was I think they made the tyre compounds softer for that race. So there was a lot of different strategies and, at one point there, I think it was like roughly halfway through the race, like say lap 37 or something, and you look down the timing tower and there was multiple cars on all three of the different compounds. Like it was literally a roll of the dice, and it was exciting to look at a team on softs or hards or mediums or driver and go, well, shit, are they, how are they going to fare when this happens and that happens and these cars pit, and are they going to make it to the end and all that?
I think what it boils down to is when you've got regs that sort of prevent close wheel-to-wheel racing because of this dirty air issue and the cars being so sensitive aerodynamically, you need to force interesting racing by causing the teams to come up with different strategies, because that's when you're going to sort of bring a little bit more interest to the sport. Is, okay, look, they're starting on hards, mediums, team at the back might gamble with softs hoping for an early safety car. That does create interest. But when you've got these setups and tyres that aren't soft enough so you can get away with, okay, everyone's starting on this compound and then going to go to hard, and then that'll be that. Maybe medium to hard, and then you don't get an interesting race. It's all the same strategy. It's just watching cars go around in a circle.
Yeah, it's just a copy and paste, Pretty much every team, except for a couple people that have had a shit quali or something, like they might all be starting on mediums, except for two that are going to try hards and hanging out, and it's like, it's just boring.
You'll end up, you'll bore people real quick if you produce a season or even bloody half a dozen races in a row that are like that. Even as F1 fans, it gets a little bit boring. All right, so what did you rate the race overall, Freezy? Do you have a out of 10 for the Bahrain Grand Prix this year?
I think I'll go a 7. So there was not major action, but there was just a few different events and stuff that were panning out, like George and his DRS, Verstappen and Lando not qualifying the best and having to work through the field. And also Red Bull were having their pit light problems. So when the car was ready to be released and got dropped, onto the wheels, the red lights were staying on, so the drivers were waiting as if, there's traffic or a reason they can't go, but there was just a malfunction with their lights. So things like that. There was some, weird technical things going on. There was all the different tyre strategies that were pretty cool to it was intriguing to see. Racing itself was okay. So, I think about 7 is where I'm going to sit for that one.
Yeah, I'm not far off. Probably about a 6. More or less echoing a lot of your points. There was enough going on to keep it interesting, but you would like to see probably a little bit more of a battle at the front. But overall, not a bad race.
I forgot to mention as well, after Verstappen's second pit stop, did you see he came out 20th?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've
Crazy to see.
never seen that. It was like someone had flipped the timing tower upside down. Like,
And you know that it'd fire Max up. If
Oh.
he was in 20th, he's like, all right, let's get the most
like
out of this thing.
I know he still finished 6th or 7th or whatever it was, but when he came out, yeah, he finished 6th. But when he came out in that 20th position, like, yeah, there's still a heap of cars ahead that still needed to pit, but it was
Weird.
like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
Very weird. All right, let's add up some points from predictions for Bahrain.
Right. Who did you have on pole?
I had Verstappen, so I got that one wrong.
I had Piastri, so I got that one
Ding.
right.
I had Piastri for the win.
Nice, that's a ding for you. I also had Piastri for the win.
Ding.
That was a cute little ding.
It's like a half ball squeak.
Second, I had Norris.
Same. Bow.
No good. Second was actually Russell. Third, who'd you have?
Verstappen. Bow.
I had Leclerc. No good.
Bow.
Third was actually Norris, who worked his way back through the field nicely
For a podium.
I was liking to see it from Norris there, but I was kind of hoping that Russell did get penalised or disqualified or something, because that would have
Just for your own points.
I would have nailed me points. Would have got the Piastri Norris Leclerc.
Gold.
Anyway,
Gold.
can't wish that upon anyone.
Left
right.
of field.
Left of field, I went rogue with the Sauber double points.
Yeah, that was Hail Mary, wasn't it?
Certainly did not happen.
I had for 3 rookies to outperform teammates, also didn't happen. I don't think any rookies outperformed their teammates, so wasn't ideal.
I'm trying to think. Let's have a quick look. I haven't fact-checked that one.
Yeah, I had a bit of a look. I don't think anyone.
Russell's over Antonelli, so there's nothing there. Esteban Ocon is higher than Behrman, so nothing there. Hadjar is higher than Lawson, so you could get that one.
Lawson's also, is he an established driver?
Yeah, that's why
That was my loophole.
Yeah, but that's why I was saying Hadjar's the rookie in that sense.
I was just going to claim either or, but
Bortoletto is technically higher than Hulkenberg because he got disqualified.
oh yeah,
But what's that? That's 2.
yeah,
What do you want? 3?
yeah.
No good, mate.
I DNF risk Stroll, and unfortunately he finished the race in like 17th or something. Did nothing special, but of course he finished.
DNF risk, I had Gasly, who actually put in a good performance.
Underrated driver.
I think so. Yeah. No, I'm a bit distracted again, as you can tell. Gasly was 7th, so yeah, so he's a very good result there. Gasly is one of those drivers that I've always felt hasn't been able to show his true potential. I know it's starting to get a bit later in his career. I mean, if you look at someone like Alonso, then he's still in his fucking
He's still a
prime.
baby.
Yeah. But I'd still love to see him get his shot in one of the top tier teams. Or, maybe Alpine does start to put a car together that puts Gasly in a position to fight for podiums and wins, because I reckon he's got it in him for sure. Still. Rightio. Where were we at?
Safety cars.
Safety cars. How many did you have?
I had 1. Were there any safety cars?
There was one.
Was there?
Yeah. Wasn't there a safety car? Because
Sainz's
Sainz got
body
his
panels.
side pod fucking chomped apart.
Yeah, thanks, Sonoda.
Yeah.
Yeah, righto.
I think there was just the one. I'll give you the point. I had 3 safety cars. I definitely know there wasn't that many.
Bugger. Right. Well, I think that more or less sums up Bahrain. Any closing words? Anything else you want to add?
No.
4 weeks on from the race.
No, I don't think so. Because if I talk anymore, I'll just be pretty much talking about what we already know after Saudi. So we'll
That'll wrap her up.
we'll shut this one down and jump into Saudi review.
Let's do it.
Done deal. All right. Thanks for listening. This is a shit outro. We've got a box. Time to retire today's episode. Thanks for joining us. If you've enjoyed the show, hit like or follow and share it with another F1 fan. Catch you later.
Bye.
Look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.